Thank you, Gnomish Overlord, for that update. Well, I'll start again then. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the World Builders Compendium. My name is Botanical, this is Missy. She's my helper for today. We're going to hope that nobody knocks on the door, because otherwise she will scream. She may passively aggressively sigh from time to time, just ignore her, she's fine. As you can see, we've had some technical difficulties, both in just me being not particularly tech savvy and forgetting to unmute myself, apparently. The map didn't save last week correctly, so I pulled up the old map, so I've had to sort of quickly fill everything in to sort of get us to where we were wanting to work for today. So I've got some homework for next week where I'll work off the PNG file that I'd saved to get back to where we were. But that doesn't matter so much because this week we were actually going to map the city down here. So we're not actually going to be working on this map specifically, so that doesn't really impact us too much. That being said, the idea behind working in CC3 is that we're going to be building ourselves a DM atlas, essentially. So everything's going to be linked together. So in the same way that we've got the links here to go for our different planes that we're going to be having, our ethereal plane leading to a sort of cloud-based city, and the potential for an underworld. We're going to have a similar type thing happening where we'll be able to sort of click on the area of the city, and that will be bringing up that city map. From there we can even sort of say, oh, we want to have a overland map that's given to adventurers of just this area here, and everything can be linked together nicely, so as DMs we can sort of navigate nicely through the one map. So to do that, the first thing we're going to want to do is obviously open a new map. So we're going to go to File and hit New. I'm going to hit yes to save changes, even though I'm going to redo all of that. I can maybe do a little YouTube recording as to how I'm going to do that, but yeah, for now we'll save that. We are going to go to Cities for the map type. Now, as you can see, we've got a fair few different styles that we can choose from. Everybody's got their own favorites, I suppose. Personally, I really like the Darkland City, and we're going to be using metric because, like I say, as we start to measure things out, we're Australians, we understand meters and kilometers a little bit better, and these don't really have any bearing for when you're putting them into Roll20 and obviously utilizing the feet and miles system that D&D uses. So yes, we're going to do Darkland City metric, but we are also, given the placement of the city, we're going to be starting to play with some of the styles from the Winter Village as well, so we'll be able to combine those two styles. But as a base, Darklands is my favourite style for cities. So we're going to go next. So the width and the height, this is how many feet, or rather in this case, how many meters you're telling the map to be. So this would be 1 kilometre by 800 meters. That's not very big for a city, but I suppose we have to think about whether this is a major city or whether it's sort of just a large settlement. Either way, I'm thinking more along the lines of like maybe 5 by maybe 3.5. Let's see how that looks. We're not going to worry about the background because, like last time, we're going to be playing around with that. We don't need a grid overlay. That's all fine. don't need any multiple levels. We're building a city. And it's going to ask me where to save it. So we'll save it where we usually save things. And we'll call this one DDA City 1. And I might run a poll on our Facebook group to come up with some cool names for our cities and settlements and our world in general. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a blank slate. So what we're going to want to do is ensure that we are building to the city. So I'm actually going to open up my phone and make sure you don't keep slipping. You're just happy as long as you're involved, aren't you? I tell you, if she was... My unseen servant's just over there, but she doesn't want a bar of him. She has to be involved in whatever I'm doing. Whatever. So, what we're going to do is... Oh, you okay? We are going to ensure that we are working to make sure the city matches what we've got on the overland map. So, I'm bringing up the PNG file that we did last week. Stop kicking me. That we did last week, so that we can keep things consistent. There it is. Okay, so we've kind of got 3 rivers converging. So what we could have done if the if the map had it saved correctly. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send this to myself on Facebook, and we're going to import it as a PNG to trace over the top, so that way we can keep it all samey. That's it, working through technical difficulties by being smart. Work smarter, not harder. Okay. Let's go over here. Oh, actually, using the wrong browser. There we go. Bit unnecessary to have noise when you open a browser, but whatever. Lovely. Editing, yep, amazing. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into, let's show you here. So when I click on that little folder icon, it actually brings up, it'll bring up the original spot. So I'm actually going to copy that, because as we start to navigate around and go between different styles, oh, are you asleep? We will kind of want to be able to just get there quickly. But for now, what we're going to do is go to Art and Editing, and we are, let's have a look. There. Has this not saved as a PNG? Oh no, it's saved as a JPEG. We've got to love our technical fun. Alright. So it only likes PNGs. So what we're going to do, fun. We are going to go to Art and Editing. We are going to grab this bad boy, and we're going to open it up in Paint, because it's quicker. Save as. PNG, done. And then we can import it into here. see that this is definitely going my way. Oh, that's because it's decided to send it somewhere else, of course. There we go. Got there eventually. Cool, so it's going to open up that folder. And then it's actually there, but what we're going to have to do is disturb the dog. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, hold on for a second, yeah. Oh, don't you tuss at me. Ugh, rude. Alright. So I'm going to make this bigger. Excellent. Doesn't matter if it's blurry because we're just using it as a guideline. So what we're going to be doing is, what are you doing? We are going to be doing our sketch layer like last time, and we're going to be using a template. So we're going to be wanting to make sure that our transparency is at 50% for, we'll keep that normal for now. And we are going to click on our exploding yellow box again, move to sheet, D for do it, and chuck it on the template layer and reload. Alright, so believe it or not, we want to move this a little bit, make it a bit bigger. So we're going to go from here, and we're actually going to bring it down this way a little bit. It is a bit of a pain in the butt, I'm not gonna lie, but it's going to be much nicer to get this to pair with the map that we did last week. Let's go to there. Excellent. And then we're actually going to want to make this, okay, Control up to make it bigger. Do it. Depends on how central we want the we want those two rivers. Excellent. So like I say, this is to sort of give us a guideline, because we're not going to actually map out this full area, because it's not quite right. But we are essentially going to want to sort of have a coastline coming through here. So here's what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is water fractal. I'm going to bring that down around through. Yeah, oh, you alright, Bubba? What are you doing? Come around. And that's going to go on the water layer. Now we can't see it too good right now, but that's because we're still dealing with that transparent layer. Okay, we'll turn off that so you stop pressing buttons. We are then going to find the river. Oh, okay. She's now on my mouse hand. Yeah, no, our internet has indeed updated Yes, that was part of the technical difficulties last week. Was swapping over to a new provider. And then guess what happened the next day? My Wi-Fi card died. So we're now plugged into the mains. Alright, so it would seem that our river button is not here. That's fine. We shall make do. It's probably for the best anyways, because, oh, this dog. Probably for the best anyways, because, it'll mean that the water will marry up nicer. So what we're going to do is do this section of river with a dog sitting on our hand. This one's gonna okay, stop it. This one's gonna come down this way. Okay. We may want to make these rivers a bit bigger or smaller. As we go, we'll see how things go. But we're just getting it in place for now. Okay, I'm going to need you to sit still. Okay? Stop kicking me. Thank you. Or I'll make you go sit with Uncle. Okay, so now we'll get rid of that template by just pressing H for hide. There we go. Cool, so as you can see, the water is a bit spooky and the rivers look a bit, well, I mean, to put it bluntly, they look pretty terrible. But like I say, this is a working, can you please stop kicking me? This is a working point. Best way to start is going to be coming over to this RBG matrix process. And we're actually going to turn that blue, I believe. Oh my god, stop it! You should see her, she's got a little leg splayed out. She's... No, we don't like blue. It was Unity that we liked. That's a bit better. Okay. So you'll see that it's a bit like bitmappy. We don't like that. So what we're going to do is utilize that thing that we copied before, and we're going to go into bitmaps. We're going to go into tiles. This one we're actually going into overland because they actually kept the water separate for some bizarre reason. And it's always in a weird spot. Annual Book of Maps, Dungeon. Where are you? Alyssa. There you are, Darklands. Hi, because we like it like that, and then we've fixed it in that sense. Now, our sheet effects are active. We're going to deal with this hot mess of potato shortly. This is just a good starting point. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is starting to think about, okay, well, this is a semi-tundra kind of area. How populated is this area? So how many houses, how many buildings are we going to be jamming into this space? What districts are we going to be including? Because we're not going to be sitting here essentially building a whole city at once, because that's just unrealistic. We're going to move suburb by suburb, district by district, and sort of deciding which way our entry points are going to be. So if we were to think about where our map was and how the mountains and stuff were poised and where the other cities were, you'd probably have a road coming in this way, and a road coming in this way, as our sort of main roads coming in and out of this city. We could maybe have a smaller road sort of going up towards the northmost coast, but our main points of entry are going to be from the northwest and the southwest. Another thing to think about is our city going to have walls around the entirety of it? Is it just going to have some walls around maybe the governmental districts? And where would those be? So a lot to think about when we're sort of designing a city, more so than when you're designing a town, because towns, you know, there's a baker, there's a blacksmith maybe. We just sort of think about like the key points there. But a district, or rather a city, is made up of many small towns. If you think about how we're building it, each district is going to be a town unto itself. I mean, in Melbourne alone, you know, how many bakeries are there? So, you know, you think about perhaps where you live in your suburb in Australia. You can have a think about, well, okay, that has you know, X amount of bakers, blah blah blah, and you know, we can scale up from there. Okay. If I put her down, she'll just scream. So we're kind of stuck with her. So I'm thinking a good place to start would be if we just sort of map out our roads, just to have a think about where they're going to go. And we've got a few options. We've got 15 city clean. So it's going to be clean cobblestones or dirty cobblestones. I think I like the look of the dirty ones better. And I'm thinking that the city centre is going to be sort of just northwest of the coastal area. So that's going to go there, and then this is going to hook up around here. Now that's teeny tiny. That's fine, because we're going to deal with that later. Actually, we'll deal with it now. No, we don't want to do that. What we want to do is hit this paint bucket to change the properties. D for do it, and we're going to do our line width at, let's start with 5 and see how that goes. That made it worse. Excellent. D for do it, let's go 20. I'm going to jump up a little bit here, go 50, because this is our main. Yeah, that's a bit better. Beautiful. So that's a main street. And then we're going to sort of add in that other one that I was talking about. So this one's going to sort of cross over these two rivers. We'll get some bridges happening at some point and go off this way. So that's our sort of main road. Interesting. Pretty sure I told you to go away. So I'm thinking it would make the most amount of sense to have a sort of industrial dock district down here, because they've got access to these two rivers, which, as we know on the larger map, actually converge together. So this is going to be like maximum movability inland. So that would make sense to have that go along there. Perhaps this portion of coast would be a more, obviously the side that's closer to industrial district is going to be sort of more of a middle class beachfront type district, with the further away becoming more upper class. And I feel like down here would probably be like our you know, our beachfront for tourists and stuff. So I'm thinking a nice point to start might well be our city centre, because then we can sort of play with some different building types and This is going to be sort of our economic, commercial, maybe even military district. And we're going to be playing with some different symbols and styles. So to start with, let's have a look at the different building types that we have. So we've got thatch, which, again, it depends on what style we're going to be going for, and what the tech level is going to be in this city. But I feel as though the style of more slate roofs is more appropriate for the city centre at the very least. But something cool that we can do is, so we'll get our road. What we can, okay, we're going to delete the template layer because it is just not, it's not getting the memo that it's not welcome. So what we can do is, first of all, I'm going to make this guy a bit bigger, not quite as big as its sibling, but just so we can differentiate our main streets from the smaller ones. Because something cool that we can do is, if I was to be kicked by a small dog consistently and constantly while I'm trying to concentrate, no, if we were to for example put a street along through here, something cool that we can do is click this button. Actually, okay, no, it was this one, where it says, if you hover over it, it says random street. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this, and what it does is it puts houses along that street, right? So it sort of randomizes it out. Now, they're a bit teeny tiny. Again, it depends on the scale that we're wanting to make this city. So if we right click on the random street button, we can see that there's a few options that we can choose from. And we can even make some houses more random than others. We can choose to draw gardens in. We can choose to change the roof types. We can even tell it what sheet to put it in. We can say all houses are the same and even change the percentage of the shapes. But if we go default large, it's going to make the houses obviously larger. And let's see what happens if we click draw gardens, what the difference is. Okay, so I'm going to click the button again. First end of street, start position, and it's going to chuck this in. So now it's actually built little gardens around the thing that we can fill in. So I'm not so fond of that, but this can be a really cool way to quickly fill out a space in the city without individually placing houses down, which is, I'll be honest, I usually do that because I like the detail in these buildings. So I'll usually actually put houses down individually, but we'll be here all day. So what I'm thinking to start is, if we were to have a street running down there, would we perhaps have like some sort of central garden in the center here? Perhaps it's like a roundabout or something like that. So actually I will put that street back. So Control Y to put the street back. Maybe not. Sometimes this program is a bit of a pig. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. So make sure that actually connects nicely. That's better. So I reckon we'll make this bad boy 30, like its sibling over there. Ugh. As you can see, it's not connecting particularly nicely. That's okay, because what we can do is move our nodes. By clicking this one. We're going to want to move this guy. So, try that again. Or, better yet, we'll just do it again. Okay, here we go. So we've made sure that it's actually in the center there now. See if it do it. 30. That's a bit nicer. We can always play with it a bit later. So I'm thinking it could be kind of cool to have some sort of like a roundabout or like circular garden. So what I'm actually going to do is we're going to do something a bit interesting here. First of all, we're going to go into our D&D folder, into the map tools, and the FA map making pack, which I believe I've linked on in the description for the Twitch. If not, I'll make sure to share the link for this. And thank you to my awesome Sunday night DM for sending me the link to this juicy little map pack. But as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of cool stuff that we can play with, from terrain, structures, vehicles, workplace equipment. We're going to have a look in structures. Maybe, let's have a look at the fountains. Okay. So as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of different colours. So we're going to have a think about what is our colour scheme going to be. I kind of like this dark, rocky sort of look. I feel like this could be kind of nice, having... Oh, it's going to put it on the roads layer. So the one bad thing about utilising external symbols is that it's not going to be smart enough to know which layer to be put on. So we'll put this guy here. And then let's have a look at flora. See what the trees look like. I'm really fussy with my trees, so let's be prepared for that eventuality. Yeah, see, I'm not a big fan of that. I actually prefer the Darkland style for the trees. They seem a bit more realistic. Now the question is going to be a case of, do we want to have a more snowy kind of look to this city? I think that could be kind of cool, having like a winter style city. So we're going to go to Symbols, City, Winter Village. And that's going to open everything up. Now this does mean that we've got access to our snow-covered slate roofs. So everything that's in the Darkland style is essentially redone in this winter style, which I think is absolutely awesome. We've even got some dead trees, or perhaps deciduous trees. So what we can do is make a bit of a circular garden and have some smaller roads sort of cutting in around it to sort of signify that it is a sort of roundabout. It's our sort of central park, if you will. Now, our tab key is working, so we can shift between our pines with ease. And if we were to zoom all the way out on the map, yeah, that's a pretty damn big fountain, but you can see it, it's readable, because the most important thing about maps is they need to be readable. So if we were to zoom into, sit still you, into, you know, the point in which we'd be utilizing this map, you can sort of see that that's a fountain. And once we get the trees and stuff in there, you'd be like, oh, that's sort of a central park. So, you know, some people are very big on making sure everything is to scale. And whilst on one hand we have sort of set this up that we can, you know, measure how far things are, I feel as though getting too caught up in, oh, hold on, this fountain is 93 meters long. Yeah, okay, that's a bit ridiculous, but at the same time, we kind of want it to be readable, because you know what, your players aren't going to be zooming into this level. There might be map nerds like me, but I doubt it. And you want them to sort of be able to get the point that you're putting across. So yeah, don't worry about getting too caught up into distances and stuff like that, because yeah, you're just gonna be having a hard time. So we're gonna put some trees around this fountain. And it's nice enough to sort of vary the sizes for us, so that's nice of it. I'm gonna have a couple of deciduous trees. Lovely. I don't think we've got any little shrubbery. We can have a look though. Go into vegetation. Nope. Nope. Okay, so we've just got buildings and shrubs. So what we might do then is have a look at that FA map making pack, because that might have some wintry flora, bushes. Maybe not. Oh, snow bushes. There we go. Okay, so not really, but let's have a look. It kind of looks like a rock. Oh, actually, that's kind of cool. Doesn't really match the style though, does it? No, actually I kind of like that. But what we'll do in here first is firstly, let us import. We are going to import bitmap fill styles. It kind of did have the right idea there. And maybe let's also import in our tiles. We'll go to city and we're going to do winter village as well. I think that's a good idea. Lovely. So you'll note that it's not actually going to be in the drawing styles unless we open it up manually, which can be a bit painful when you've got quite as many styles as I do. Ooh, Cosmographer. We can play with that at another time. Because we've got all these annuals. But we're wanting the... Oh, stop it. Okay, Winter Trail. So, yeah, it doesn't want to open it that way. But if we were to do something like this, utilizing our fractal tool, and sort of go like this, it's going to make a little black blob. That's fine, because we can change the fill style to one of the ones we've just imported. And in this case, I'm thinking that could be kind of cool. Thinking we played with that frosty grass. I think that could be kind of cool. It's a bit too big. Coming back over here into bitmap files, we're going down to what we just imported, the frosty grass, scaled. Now 1 is just going to be way too small, so let's have a look at 50. Tell you what, dog, you're making this very difficult. Let's bring that back. Okay, lovely. So now it's on the symbols map layer, because that's what it does. Sometimes you got to kind of keep track of what you're adding to things. So what we're going to do is we're going to add that to its own layer. We're going to call it terrain snowgrass. And we'll add it to that. There, we'll press OK. And we're going to refresh. So now it's nice flat. So what we're going to do is come up to here, steal those two, copy, paste, apply, and then we're going to bring it up. So sort of like when you're modding a game, your load order is quite important, same as utilizing maps or utilizing a art program such as Rebel, such as Photoshop. You've got to make sure that you've got everything on the right layers. So we're going to just bring it up to here for now, because we're going to sort of want to know what layers we're wanting to put down. I think that it'd be nice to also add... She's only little, but she weighs a lot. My arm's going to sleep. We're going to put some of the snowy heather here. And here. And don't worry that it's sort of pre-chosen a fill for us, because what we will do is change it. Sometimes easier said than done, but heather. Now, we could have all done it at the same time, but sometimes it's easier to not. See, it's going to want to play silly buggers with me. Okay. There we go. Now, like I say, that's way too big, but okay, so actually going to hide all. We're going to grab this one. Heather. So that's all been done nicely, and then we're going to go to here. Scaled. I believe we were at 30 if I'm not mistaken. I can always double check. Yeah, that's about right. So show all. So that's how we're at the moment. So now we're going to add some little clumps of snow. And we're going to put that on its own layer. We'll start by doing that now. Green snow. Yeah, I think that going underneath snowgrass is wise. Putting the same blurred on is good. And we are still going to be utilizing our fractal tool over here. Just because I feel like it makes nicer, more randomized blobs for lack of a better term. Sort of like when we're making those islands, we're just going to sort of throw these down nice and random. We're then going to hide all. We are going to grab all of these, D for do it, and we're going to do, I wonder what frozen mud looks like. Ooh, that's saucy. Let's try snow drifted. That's a bit boring. What about snow trampled? It's a bit blue, but I suppose it sort of matches the trees. Snow drifts. I'm still liking the frozen mud look the best. Oh, actually, I don't mind that. Still a bit blue though. Still quite blue. I wonder what that looks like. No. We'll go with the frozen mud look. I think that's the nicest. Show all. Okay, so there's that. And I think we're going to want to put some white down. So we're going to use our fractal tool again. I like the idea of finishing off this corner. Like I say, we're just making this as random as we possibly can. Because as far as the temperature goes for our city here, I think what we're going to be saying is that we're in the between seasons, going between summer and winter. So hide all again. Oh, that's an iffy one. I'm just going to do these to start with because I reckon I'm going to try and click on that other one and it's going to make my life difficult. So, let's have a look, see. I think yeah, we'll stick with that for now. We can always change it out. See, told you it was going to be like a bit of a pig. Knew it. Okay, that one. And we just did snow. Ugh, bah humbug. Okay. Well, that's a pain. There we go. Got him. Okay. Snow. Excellent. Okay, we love this. Show all. And you can see we've got a bit of a patchy situation there. So what we're actually going to do for terrain snow is play with this edge fade a little bit because it's a bit blocky. So I'm going to bump that up to 15. We're going to move this out of the way so we can actually see the effects of what we're doing. Yeah. That works. And then we can put some bushes down. So to to move things around, to make them bigger, we hold down Control, and to move them around, we hold down Shift. So, yeah, I don't think these, as cute as they are, they just don't match the style, unfortunately. Yeah. And there doesn't appear to be... Oh, there's snow trees. Let's have a look. There's bear. Yeah, no. No. So, we are going to... Oh dear. That is not good. Okie dokie. We're going to pretend like that never happened. We are going to open up that sticky note with our quick access. To get back over to our symbols. Cities. Winter Village. Oh, actually, what if we do symbols, dungeons, Winter Trail? Because we might have some more vegetation. Oh, they're pretty. Ooh. Ooh. I actually like these way not... Yeah, no, we're going to get rid of those plants that we've done. So we are going to go... Tick that box and hide all. Apply. Yep, sick. So we're going to get rid of these because I feel like the trees in the Winter Trail are way nicer. Show all. I mean, look how pretty they are. Oh, it's so nice. Okay, so we don't mind if there's a bit of overlapping on the fountain. That is so cute. Because you know, the trees aren't planted directly on top of it, but oh, these are so cute. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, we are. Oh, we've even got little. Oh, that is so lovely. Oh my gosh, and it's even got like the. Yeah, this is way nicer than the city one. So it's a bit big for grass. Grass can't be bigger than the trees. That's a bit ridiculous. Not so much of a fan, but it's really cool that that's a thing. Yeah, nice. That's beautiful. But where was that lovely? Ooh, sort of almost like a decorative tree. Oh, that is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, what's that underneath it? Why is it blue? Don't like the blue underneath it. I'm not understanding what the blue is. That's a shame, because it's actually a really pretty tree, and it's got this weird blue blob thing underneath it. Yeah, I don't like that blue blob. I'm not entirely sure what the deal with it is. Maybe we can disable smart symbols. See what that does. No, still got that. No, I don't like it. Oh well. These are still nicer trees. Actually, we want to get rid of those. The next thing we're going to do is make these roads look a bit nicer. So we've used the dirty cobbles. Yeah, yes we have. Find 3+. Bit. You made me click the wrong thing, you dingus. Okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hey? What are you doing, you toothless terror? Be good. Okay. What? Well, if you stopped kicking me, we wouldn't be in this position, would we? Darkland City. Oh, you tired? Those cobblestones are probably a bit big, but at least it gives us an idea. Makes it a little bit more readable, doesn't it? Oh, my love. You're a funny little monkey, aren't you? Okay. So, I would like to sort of add this sort of so when we zoom out, we'll get the idea that there's this really cool little like central plaza. We're going to add a few more trees in. There we are. Although you've made this quite difficult because I need to make the tree bigger. Do you mind if I press Control? We'll leave the vegetation for now. But I think we'll have a line of trees along here, and along here as a sort of garden estate. But I think it would be nice to, from this point here where you can see that line, we're going to start doing some side streets. Now, in Melbourne, we do have everything is pretty much a grid. Is that how we want to set up our city? It does definitely make a bit of a difference when everything is in a grid. So I'm thinking the other thing is that drawing tool wants to be rounded. We don't necessarily want it rounded. So we're going to go to advanced. We're going to go city street dirty, and we're actually going to path polygon, and we want that to be straight. Yes, because we can always swap it back. So from here, what we're going to do is I feel like that be good, or do we want to make it a bit more straight? No, I think on the angle's better. Okay, so we've got a sort of back street along here, and like I said, we'll fix the sizing of the cobblestones because it does look a little bit weird. But let's have a look. We're gonna have another street sort of connect here. Oh, she's falling asleep, and I think it would be nice to have another one coming along here. So from here we're going to have a few little side streets and the like. I'm thinking that we'll have a few more governmental buildings along this side, but this side will have some estates. So we are going to right click on that random street, default large. I think we'll actually do slate large. We are going to draw gardens because this is our sort of fancy place. And I'm trying to see how we can make this all a little bit bigger. Let's go 150, and we'll do this one 10. Just double it. See how much of a difference that makes. Okie dokie. So our first area that we're going to do is along this bit. Let's have a look. They still seem a bit small. So let us have another go. Ah, this is more what we're looking for. Minimum 5, maximum 10. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's see how this goes. Like I said, with this program, it can be a little bit of, that's a bit better. A little bit of trial and error, because there's just so much you can do with it. That, yes, it can be a little interesting sometimes. She's got a little tongue poking out. Bless. Okay. Let's go 20 and 50. Oh, she's so cute. Let's try both. We'll go 50. Min house length has to be greater than the max house length. Min house length. Okay, well, we'll try it like this then. 100. Oh, that's a bit big. Let's see how this all goes. They look a little bit bigger. That's a bit more like it. Lovely. So that's sort of the right size that we're looking for here. Only problem is that they've put some weird blue fencing around it instead of the walls. So what we'll do instead is we'll turn off the garden. And we'll just add those in ourselves. Good. Now, if we were going to want to, for example, put a street down here, we can also delete these individual houses without them, she's so cute, without them impacting. So essentially what we can do is, you know, do this sort of thing. Got a couple of overlapping down here, we can always swap them out. Put that through here. And we've essentially got, if we zoom out, our first sort of set of houses. Now there's definitely a few things that we can do to improve this. For example, that blue outline that we see, a lot of that is because we've actually got blue selected. So if we instead had the black selected, we could then draw these out like so, and we no longer have that blue peeking through. So when we zoom out, it's a bit more like that. Now I definitely think we're going to need to have some more side streets happening through here. But for now, you can kind of get the gist of what we are capable of doing. So, you know, we can have some houses come up along through here. We're definitely going to want to have some more streets lining up to this. But like I say, we're just getting our point across. Oh, there is somebody at the door. It's just the Hello Fresh man. Go back to sleep. Okay, so we've got that and that. We've got ourselves a nicely drawn little grid. Now, what the other thing we can do is, let's just say we have a side street coming down. Maybe there can be a little park or something on the corner there. That's nice. But we're going to have a side street coming maybe through here and squaring off through. Okay, what are you doing? It's like dealing with a flailing octopus sometimes. We'll delete you. and we'll delete you. D for do it. What we can do is we'll add our little side street in. Right. So what we can do, oh, we want a little house there, no worries. We can open up this and we can choose our house shape and just draw it in manually. So we're just going to put a square or a rectangle in. And there we go. So this little section up here where it's a bit like empty, we can click open the menu and go, well, actually I think something like that would be more appropriate. So we'll draw that, and then we sort of play with it a little bit. So yeah, there's a few ways that we can quickly smash out houses. So something that we can do, for example, is this. And then maybe have some parklands in here. So we've got like a little section here. It's just bishop. Okay. So yeah, that's something cool that we can do. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this in general, like what we've just done. It looks a bit, I mean, sure, it can probably come to life a little bit. As far as adding some backgrounds and stuff go. I'm a glutton for pain. I definitely prefer manual placement of pretty much everything. So yeah, I am going to get rid of this. And we are going to do this the way that I like to do it, because it looks prettier. That being said, if you prefer to save the time, then honestly, do what you need to do. There is no point doing something you don't enjoy. For me, I quite enjoy building maps, and now that the dog is awake, we can build our avenues of trees. I'm just going to skip over the teeny tiny little ones because they're a bit annoying to have to resize all the time. So again, we zoom out and you can sort of see, oh, you know, that's what we're looking at. They are a little bit too big though. And sometimes it does just take you to zoom out to sort of see, oh, actually that's a bit, those are a bit small, but those are a bit big. So let's go that sort of thing. Just about done. Lovely. So we get the idea now. We've got a little avenue of trees. We're going to put down some lovely terrain underneath it, so it sort of pops a bit more. So let's have a look. We'll start with our start with the grass. That's not quite what we were after, but that's okay. For one, we're going to put it on the snowgrass terrain, and we're going to change it to our frosty grass. Lovely. Then we are going to make sure we've got this selected, because we're going to add in some little bits. Again, trying to keep everything nice and random. May even add in some green patches of grass. I swear, sometimes you live with people, they're not the smartest. That door does slam. We're just very lucky that she hasn't started screaming, because the Hello Fresh man dropped the parcel off, and well, she remained quiet. So thank your lucky stars that she hasn't gone for a screech, because otherwise we wouldn't have our eardrums left. Oh my god. What are we doing? Lovely. So you get the idea. I'm not a big fan of the size of bitmaps, so I think I might play around with those a little bit, because they look a bit, I don't know, Microsoft Painty. So let's go 200. That's a bit nicer. $200. Yeah, that looks a bit nicer. And then we can chuck some snow and stuff on top of that. Yes, the puppy. Like I say, we are blessed that she hasn't started screaming every time somebody comes through that door. Like I say, she's happy just being involved with the process, even if she's in the way, especially if she's in the way. Okay, so this is how I sort of come up with where I'm going to put my my streets and stuff. What we're going to do is open up our... Oh, we're on the winter trail, that's right. We're going to open up our cities. We're going to go... We're going to go... What is it called? Winter Village, isn't it? Winter Village. Winter Village. And then we can start putting down some houses. So, like I say, this is sort of the richer area, if you will. So, everybody's got decent-sized houses. Yes, they do. Oh, you're licking my hand. Okay, goodo. This pleases me. So these are going to be the largest houses that we're going to have, or the largest buildings rather, we're going to be having in our city. Everything else is going to be decidedly smaller. Much, much smaller. So from here, we have a, still stick with the dirty road. And we are going to do swapping this back to a curve, to smooth. So here's what we're going to do. This is going to come up through here. You're being such a good girl. Yes, you are. And that's going to connect in through there. So we have perhaps some sort of shop or something on the corner there, but for now, we've got a road. We've got some houses. I'm thinking that, like I said, the biggest buildings, or the biggest houses, are these ones, but we also are going to be having some, how would you say, governmental type buildings. So I'm thinking, actually, what could be kind of cool is our Parliament House of sorts can be sort of up in here on a bit of a hill. Now, we've got this kind of thing. We've got this sort of building that could also make for a good parliamentary style building, along with these sort of shapes as well. So what I'm thinking could be worthwhile is building up our little hill. We'll obviously be getting rid of some of the trees through here, because I think a bit of a boulevard up to the parliamentary building could be kind of cool. And then obviously we're going to want to think about, oh yes, woof woof. We're going to want to think about what we're actually calling our governmental body here anyways. Is it a parliament? Is it a small dog who's getting stuck in cables? Or is it a, I don't know, a council? Is it a tribunal? Tribunal's always a cool word. But either way, our governmental building's going to be up on a bit of a hill here. We've obviously got our bridges as well that we'll be chucking down at some point. We've got a wall, got trees. I'm curious to see. Probably not. Okay, so we're going to go into Darklands. Bless you. Go into Natural, because here we have boulders and sheep, which are obviously not very important right now. But we do have these outcroppings, which we can use to sort of build a bit of a raised area. We can also have a look to see if perhaps the Winter Trail has some things to look at. So we've got cave, we've got wintry boulders, so they could come in handy. Up, down, stairs, so we could have some stairs leading up. That's kind of cool. Elemental magic. Not quite. Debris. Not quite. Vegetation. Yeah, no, doesn't look like it. Okay. I've got the feeling that, yeah, so that's all much the same. Ice caverns could be promising. No. let us have a look at what the FA pack has on offer as far as cliffs. And forest path. Quick access. No. We want to go to map tools. Okie dokie. Let's have a look-see. Terrain. I think so. Modular cliffs. Not quite. We want snowy kind of, some snowy vibes. These are definitely really nice, but we want a tundra-y kind of look. Sand, slate. Nope. Modular old cliffs and ridges. Snow. Here we go. Okay. Cliffs, snow. Ooh, they're kind of cool. Ridges. Okay, this is what we're looking for. And she's fallen asleep between the gap between me and the table. Okay, just sit still for a second, Habib. So that's what that looks like, which I think is quite pretty. Obviously we're not going to be making it that big, but we are, I think, okay, so we're going to have a bit of a gap there, so that way we can in hindsight, that's kind of making it look like the hills up on that side, so actually what we want is that kind of a deal. Yeah. Now something that we can do is mirror, so I can go in here and hit mirror, and it will it does flip it over. So if I go mirror again, you'll see that, yeah, it flips it up and down. Okay, what do you want? Do you want to go down? What do you want? Okay, just put the dog down. What do you want to do? Not right now. Go play with Steven. At least I've got both my hands back for now, but you watch, she'll come and scream at me in a minute. So we'll turn off the set normal. Okay, so let's, this is so much easier without a little dog on my lap. Okay, so that's a bit big because it's going to end it not quite in the space that I'm looking for. Nope. Nope. I mean, that could work. Yeah, okay. So I've got a bit of an idea in my head now as to how this is going to sit. And before we get too excited, we are going to make sure that we put our cliffs onto the appropriate layer. Okie dokie, we're going to get rid of these guys, and we are going to make sure that our cliffs are selected. Let's have a look. Symbols, symbol outcrop. We're going to do outcrop bottom because we're going to sort of build up a little bit. So we're going to do this guy here. Okay. We want that a bit wider out. Sort of a bit like that. Yeah. So now we've got our symbols outcrop bottom. What we're actually going to want to do is we're going to copy these two, but we're just going to tone it down for the bottom. Also going to add a bit of edge fade in. Okay. Let's hide all. Make sure that, okay, so it is actually on that layer. That's good. Let's go 20. Does the job. So we've got a bit of a rocky outcropping happening here. So what we're going to now do is actually we want to make those the top, because otherwise our map's not going to be easily read. So we're going to move to sheet, D for do it, and we're going to, oh hello, you're back again, are you? What do you need? Excuse me? What are you doing? Do you need to go outside? Ah, my unseen servant is coming to the rescue. Do you want to take her outside?
Hey.
Go on. Children.
I feel as though, yeah, I feel as though I'll put this on the face. Yeah, put this on your face, because I don't know if you're entirely happy here yet. Let that one fly away. Oh, right, let's go outside. Watch your face.
I'm not entirely sure what he's talking to the dog about, but I'm sure they have mighty fine conversations. Yes, this one's going to be the bottom. Let's have a look, see. Because we do want to make it slightly bigger, but we don't want to be too unreasonable. I think that's a good size. Nope, we want to cut in a little bit more. No. That could work. Not quite. That's a bit better. sort of want it to be cutting in a bit harder. There we go. Are you and the dog okay?
Yeah, she took her outside and she was just like, it's cold and wet out here. What the fuck are we doing out here?
Okay.
We came back inside.
So she just wants a whinge. Good-o.
Well, yeah, she is a whingy little bitch. Just like you.
That's a bit rude. But anyways, as we can see, we've now sort of built a bit of a cliff up. I think that we might do our outcrops below our we'll deal with the layering a bit later, but like I say, we've got our idea here. We then want to maybe chuck our rocks in so that we can, pardon me, I've got a bit of reflux, so that we can sort of build this up a bit, make it look a bit less weird, because it definitely looks a bit weird when you've when all you've got is sand and some squiggly lines. So there's our rocky section. Again, we are going to I see that it takes the copy paste quite literally. So let's go to our sticky notes, copy paste that so that we can get into our bitmaps again. Going into Darklands, there's our rock. Like with the others, yeah, I like that. Do you want to come here? What are you doing? Okie dokie. So we've got that. I think it'd be quite good to add some more snow, but for now, what we will do is get our Parliament House in. So symbols, cities, Duckland City, buildings. No, it was Winter Village. And we come down to, I think this looks like a good parliamentarian type. No, we were going to do something cool. We were going to do this guy. Yeah, I think that works. But what if we do this? This. And then, yeah, I like that. That's cool. And then we can have our road coming down like that. We can maybe throw down another fountain. Get rid of that, that, that. I'm a little bit confused as to what those little dots were, but okay. Lovely, so we've sort of got that. We'll make all these lines a little bit more seamless. You know, we're just planning. Not that anybody will notice from a distance anyways. And then we are going back into, I'm going to make sure this is selected. Because we're going back into map tools, map making pack, structures, and then we're looking for fountains. Although, what does that say? Ooh, that's kind of cool. We can use that a bit later. Adornments. That's also quite cool. Interesting. That's not what we're going to be doing though. We want... I think we're going to want that one to be in line with that. So there's a nice sort of fountain there, and then we're going to put a smaller one up here. Let's have a look for those stairs. Stone. I think we're going to want to get the yeah, we're going to want to put the winter one down. So winter trail, up, down, stairs. It's not quite straight. Okay, so we've got some stairs that lead up. Again, we can sort of tweak it a little bit next week. But as I say, this is sort of more of a planning process at the moment. But it does sort of take up quite a decent amount of our city. But again, that's not necessarily a weird thing, especially for a sort of medieval style city. We've got our richer district along through here, and then by this point we'll start getting some smaller houses and more nooks and crannies. I know we haven't really touched the river yet, but what I would like to do is we are going to be saving as DDA City 1. Yep. So each week we're just going to be making a new save, so that it stays consistent. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to open up our original one. I am curious to see if maybe there's no. Okay, fair enough. No, we are going to have to indeed redo it. No, that's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to link those two maps together. And how we do that is we're going to go Tools, Hyperlinks, Link with Map. So from here, we are making sure that we're going into our correct spot. We're going to link to DDA City 1, and our hotspot window is going to be here, like this. Now, we're going to see this on there. That is part of our key text, if I'm not mistaken. So if we hide all of our text and press apply, interesting. We could also just make sure that that's on its own layer. Okay, so apparently what we're going to do is save as DDA floor 1, and we're going to go 1.1. We're going to exit the program. And then we're going to open it again. And it should, excellent. It should not be present. And then we click on that and we've linked our cities together, which I think is pretty cool. The other thing that we can do, so when we utilize a different program, come here. I can. When we do utilize a different program, there's a couple of things we can do. We can finish that up. We can either, yes, we'll replace test. Let's see. We can either pull out whatever map we make in whatever surprise program that it is that we're going to be using. So we're going to maps. Let's pull in, oh, it doesn't really matter. Let's pull in this one that I've made in something different. So either we can bring it in and save this as its own map, linking it all together, or we can just link to file, which will actually bring this particular map up into its own window. So if we were to play with that, going back to our DDA 1.1, open. No, we don't want to save test. So if we were to sort of go, instead of opening this up within Campaign Cartographer, what we could do is, let's pretend, let's see, we've got a town here. So let's pretend that we are going to utilize that map as a town. What we then do is go save as, we're going to go 1.2 to keep it separate, close, CC3, open it again. It's going to give me a tooltip, and then when I click on that, it's going to open the map into a new window. Again, so keeping our world map as an atlas so that we can navigate quickly between all of the different maps we're going to make. So this can work for our overlands, this can work for, you know, battle maps, all that sort of stuff, because we can sort of plan regions around certain areas of our world map. So in a sense, it is an interactive map. Not in the same way as what I will show you guys once we've sort of filled out this continent a bit more. Something that we'll be utilizing is World Anvil's ability to make interactive maps. I might actually I might show you. Here's one I prepared earlier. Might show you one that I've done earlier in World Anvil, so you can see what I mean. Because I think it's quite effective. Let's have a look. Baslag world map. So this was what I call a placeholder map, because everybody was asking me to draw a map, and I'm really particular with my world maps. It can be a bit hard to put what I see in my head out onto a map. So the thing that we can do here is we can put down all these really cool pins, and then have them link to their own wikis. So we hit New Chrobazon, for example, and that's going to bring up the article about New Chrobazon. We can hit the stain, and it will bring up the article for the stain. We haven't made one yet, because the players haven't actually discovered it, so they don't know anything. The brothers, all these different places, I can add in, as I have done, little points on the map for the players, so it's like, oh, this is where you lived. Yeah, so that can be a bit of fun as well. So that's more of a player access level for a map. You can make it as detailed or as basic as you want. So in this case, I did make it a little bit more on the basic side. They don't see the rivers, they don't see the mountains. It's all just political borders. But that's sort of how I wanted it, because I want them to sort of explore and not just be like, oh, well, the map says there should be a river here. But, like I say, I'm teaching you guys how to use the full suite of Campaign Cartographer, but also utilize other programs that you may not have thought to use. Which I think it could be kind of cool next week, now that I have stable internet and actually capable of streaming and showing you these programs. I think next week what I'd like to do is I would like to make a battle map that is going to be located just outside of the city gates. So we're going to assume that perhaps as you approach the city, some guards are going to stop you and say, oh, you can't come in here, city's closed to outsiders due to dragons. Yeah, I just pulled that straight out of Skyrim. But there's going to be some sort of altercation just outside the city gates. Perhaps it's with the guards, perhaps it's going to be with some undesirable types. But I'll be able to show you this really cool program that I don't think you're going to be expecting, because it's not a map making program. No, it is not. But we will be making a battle map that players can technically experience in first person, if you so allow them to. So, yes, join me next week as we dive into this mystery program that has some really cool functionality, both for an online game and for around a table game, giving you access to the potential of first-person view in some very lovely graphics. I do apologise for the technical difficulties this week. For example, me not turning the sound on for my mic, coupled with having a small dog on my lap, sort of hampering my ability to do things. Apologies for not streaming last week. As I was saying in my intro, whilst I didn't have any sound on, we just upgraded our internet connection, and as luck would have it, it occurred on the Friday, so I didn't have any internet to stream for you guys. And I also had a pretty big assignment due on Sunday. And as it turns out, all the work that we had done on our previous stream didn't actually save correctly. So between now and next week, I will endeavour to get us back to that same point, include the hyperlinks to this new city that we are building, so that way after next week's little dive into our surprise battle map, we can get back into our city, finish that off. It is going to be a work in progress. I feel like we're going to be sort of cutting away from the city and cutting back to it again. Because I just don't want to be doing the same things every single week, because that would just be boring. So next week we're actually going to be stepping away from campaign cartographer. And yeah, we'll see how we go with that. So with all that being said, we have a couple of minutes to go, so I feel like this is a good time to sort of say our thank yous. I want to say a big thank you to Dungeons and Dragons Australia for allowing me this opportunity to share my world building techniques with you. Whilst yes, we are starting with building maps, we will be moving into how to organize your notes, how to build the world proper, not just maps, because maps is only but one facet of building a world. There is a lot more that goes into homebrewing, even like either your own world or even trying to work out how you're going to play in Faerun or any of the other D&D settings. I think note-keeping is incredibly important, map-making, understanding your NPCs. There is so many facets. So yes, this first season is focused on map-making because that's where I start. But there is plenty of other things that we'll be covering as we go through our journey of the World Builders Compendium. So again, thank you to Dungeons and Dragons Australia for affording me this opportunity. A big thank you to our followers on Facebook and to this Twitch channel. I do also want to say a little reminder as well to not forget to join us on the Facebook page if you haven't already. I'll be sure to put the information into the chat box for you guys, as well as my personal socials, so you can follow me on Instagram and YouTube. So if you do happen to miss any episode of the World Builders Compendium, you can find me on YouTube, or you can follow D&D Australia on YouTube, or you can follow us both, because we'll all have that up there, and support your local artist. And yeah, anybody who does subscribe to the D&D Australia Twitch will end up getting copies of whatever it is that we create together in these episodes. And same goes for any members on YouTube, for both personal and for DDA. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Sorry for being a little bit out of sorts this week. I haven't been feeling 100%, and the little dog, she's adorable, but she loves to get in the way when I'm trying to do things on the computer. But love you all. Hope to see you very soon. And yes, I'll be putting all the links to the various programs that we've been using, the various map packs that we've been using, everything that you need to know to be able to get amongst this yourself. I'll pop into the chat before we stop the stream. Also, please don't forget to join our Discord. Again, will be placed into the chat box. There is a space there for you guys to ask any questions or give any requests that you may have relating to this stream. I will stop rambling for now. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.